Hey, glad to have you back. Welcome to the Profit Tool Belt podcast. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about technology. Some of you love it. Some of you do not love it. Some of you are neutral. Whatever. But you might have to go back and look at it from a different viewpoint because technology is the communication that holds everything together. It's the glue, part of the glue that holds your business together. And today, we're going to talk about how to get to the next level in my construction company using better communication. Today's guest is Gordon Henry. He's from a company called Thryv, and he's an expert in this kind of stuff because he's been dealing with it for years. I think you're going to enjoy it. Let's get to the episode, and we'll talk to you on the other side. Mr. Gordon Henry, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, good to be back with you. I was a guest on your show, and now here you are on mine.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, your show is called Winning on Main Street. I kind of feel like I had to be on that show.
You did, and you did an awesome job. And yeah, we love doing it. And it's really about helping small businesses succeed. And that's why we called it Winning on Main Street.
Yeah, Main Street anywhere USA, anywhere Canada, anywhere Australia, anywhere.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, today you and I are here to continue the conversation, I guess, here on my show. We're going to talk about how to get to the next level in my construction business, which has a lot to do with something people don't like. All right, some people like it. Communication. Before we get to that, Gordon, who the heck are you, by the way? And how is it you come to be speaking to all these contractors, all these business owners all over the world?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I am the Chief Strategy Officer at Thryv. We're a NASDAQ listed company. We're a public company, THRYV, Thryv.com, if you're looking for us. And basically what we focus on is building software to help small businesses succeed and run better. And as I mentioned, I'm the Chief Strategy Officer there. I've been in the business about 20 years, actually a little over 20 years in helping small businesses. First with print advertising, then with online advertising, and more recently with a software focus. So I've been doing this for a while. And prior to that, I really started my career in marketing. I was in direct marketing before that. So that's a little bit of the history. So yeah, the company is, we have a few 100,000 small business customers. So I guess we're doing something right. And, you know, we're all about helping small businesses get, as you said, get to the next level and succeed with their customers. So hopefully we'll talk about that.
Well, that's all we got to talk about today. You know, I went and obviously in my research, making sure that you'd be right for the show, I went and looked at some of the customer stories that you had there. The glass guy was the one I clicked on. You know, just a regular person, right? Trying to run a business, glass business, good, and you know, running across the things we always run across. We're all, and I'm going to say this, I haven't met every single person, Gordon, that listens, but we're all good people trying to help other good people. And so we make promises, but then we're up a ladder on another job and we're breaking a promise because we're late to the next one. And communication, that's where, you know, the fancy word communication just means keeping promises, having great relationships with people, right? What do I need to do then in my construction business if I want to have better communication with my customers? You've seen this in different industries. What are the things that I need to do?
Yeah. So I always like to think about, we all should be thinking about what's our customers' experience. How do they experience us? And generally, I think most of your listeners are probably very good at what they do. They go into business because they're really good at all the things you talked about, whether it's building a house, remodeling, roofing, cabinet making. They're good at it and they're passionate about it. But they may not have gone into business because they know how to build a good customer experience. And so they should be trying to look at working with them through the eyes of their customer. What does Mrs. Jones feel like when she's working with, you know, Bill's Construction, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, what we try to do with our software product is we try to make that whole journey for the consumer super easy, so that when they're working with you, whether it's the beginning, they're looking for somebody online to remodel their house. Can they find you? If they say, oh, this looks like an interesting company, can they book an appointment with you easily? And when I say easily, most people these days are living on their smartphone. And so can they do this all really with a couple of clicks on their smartphone? Yeah, I mean, since, you know, the founding of the iPhone, I mean, it's now 15 years. Most people, I was in New York today, when you walk down the street, most people are looking down at their phone.
That's
They're
it.
not even, eyes up, let alone talking to somebody. It's on their phone constantly. So can they do business with you that way? And then, like I said, booking the appointment, reminder that you're coming out to their house, sending them the estimate or
Oh
invoice,
gosh. How many
collecting the
times have
payment.
Yeah, how many times have people been burned that they set an appointment Tuesday at 2 o'clock and they show up and the homeowner or the other contractor's not there,
right?
Because they didn't get a reminder. It's interesting you say that, because I don't know the last time we talked on this show about thinking about the customer's experience.
Exactly.
Like, have you tried calling your own phone number and just walk through the path of what it's like? And if it's painful, they're going to call Dan's Kitchens, not Bill's Kitchens. They're going to call so-and-so roofer, not you roofer. And that's a great point. Even just getting that appointment, booking that appointment, or having that. Oh, wow. Yeah.
And also another thing I like to point out is reminders. Big companies, major Amazons of the world, they know who you are. They know what you read. They remind you what you read last time and what you should be buying now, or what thing you bought from them. They're all over like your sort of digital presence, and you're used to getting those kinds of emails and texts from those big companies. But smaller companies, these local companies that are probably most of your listeners, they don't really know much about their customers, digitally speaking. Do they have a profile on them? Do they know, if it's some type of like service they provide that needs to be updated? Like, I'll give you an example. We have in our house a couple of these freezer drawers, and the freezer drawers are broken. And the person who did the install on them should be sending us a reminder once a year. Did you clean them out the proper way? Is the coil still working the right way? Did you get rid of the dust? All that kind of junk. They don't do any of that stuff. So what happens is we forget about it, and then the thing breaks, and then we have to chase them down, and then we got to get it fixed. Whereas if they had sent us the reminder, first of all, they would have gotten extra money.
They would
from
have
us
gotten the new job. Yeah.
Yeah, we would have said, yeah, come out, clean it, whatever, do the thing so it's working. But not zilch.
Yeah.
And then it's on us. And we gotta, where is that? What was the name of that guy? What's his phone number? Can't find it. Maybe we call somebody else.
This is good and bad, but the bar in business is set very low. Like, it's not hard to stand out from the crowd, a good or bad.
Right.
And I think we want to stand out on the positive. But if anybody's listening to this show, they're already in that group, because there might be tens of thousands of people who listen to us do this episode. There's millions who don't. Yeah, so I'm not I'm not living in any dream world, right? But those millions who don't, let them set the bar low, and then we can be better. And one of the things that I've learned in business, and I continue to read this in economic reports and from other marketing gurus and business gurus, is that if I want to get a premium price, if I want to have really strong gross profit margins in my business, I have to be different. I have to be different than my competition, but I have to be different in a good way, not a bad way. Like, I can't be. I had that add that in, Gordon, because I knew you'd catch that one. But I have to give a better customer experience. I have to just understand my customers better. I have to pre-plan, pre-book, invoice them on time, invoice them what I promised to invoice them.
One thing too, along those lines is, I know we all think we're better than our competition, but the truth is that there are many products and services out there for which there are substitutes, right? Almost anything you find, very few are, unique, that nobody else does it at all the way you do, kind of thing.
Sure.
And so if there are services or products that are similar, how does the consumer distinguish between them? Sure, some of it's going to be like the review or the recommendation, but it's also going to be about the service, right? There's like a service experience or wrapper around your product. And if your service is better, and that may be what the person remembers, by the way. If Mrs. Jones asked Mrs. Smith, then she may say, Bill was just such a delight to deal with every step of the way. He was great. Oh, and he also did a good job on the roof. But he's just a delight. He remembered what to do, and it was easy to work with him, and the billing, and it was one touch on my phone. That whole service piece is really important.
Yeah. People on the show have heard this story before, but many years ago, I was dealing with a family HVAC business, HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. A horrible situation where it was two brothers running the business. One of the brothers passed away from having a little bit of a cough to passing away a couple of months.
Mm.
By the time I came into the picture, the brother remaining was under incredible amount of stress.
Mm.
And under stress, he went right back to being super technician. Everything had to be meticulous on the job site. His guys had to call him from the basement while they were in front of the unit, all that stuff. And when we started coaching, I said, you're getting caught up in all this stuff, which is fine. It's great. You have to be technically great. You're making promises to people. What do your customers want? And just that look, I remember like, huh? What? They want their furnace fixed. No, but what do they want? And so we did a survey. This is crazy business coach stuff. Hey, customers, what do you want? And, I'm not going to go through the whole process, but it came down to 3 things that we narrowed it down to. I'm going to do this from memory. Show up on time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wear your boots in my house. Or dirty, like it was more like about dirty boots. Show up on time. Don't wear your dirty boots in my house. And bill me what you said you're going to bill.
Yeah.
That was quality. That was the measurement of quality for this family, second generation HVAC business. Had nothing to do with the technical stuff.
Right. Because most of us are busy and most of us want to remove hassles from our life. And so if you make it easy for me to do business with you, I mean, the fixing the furnace is sort of table stakes. I assume you can do that well.
Right.
But you should make the rest of the process easy for me so I love doing business with you and don't hesitate next time. And by the way, again, I remember you next time because you've texted me and said, hey, if there's anything I can do, or it's time to come out and check your furnace again. You just make the whole process easy so I can remember and do it again next time.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people listening will say the same thing I used to say when I was doing contracting full time is I don't have the time. Like I want to keep promises. I do great work, but I can barely keep up with the work I've got. Oh, and by the way, I need to get home a bit early tonight because my wife wants to go to choir practice.
Right. Which is why you need technology, that's the whole purpose of the system, is to make the business look professional, make the business look like they're in control, make the business look like they're
I like how you
easy to do business with.
They look like they're in control. They look like
but I'm talking about appearances to your customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
You will be in control, but you got to look like you're
that's
in
right.
control.
Yeah, it's got to look smooth.
And that's what and the beauty of the technology today. I mean, we all use technology. We're pretty much. I'm sure everybody listening is probably got a phone within a foot of them. We all use technology today. It should make it easy for you to achieve that. In other words, you don't need to pay staff to do all these things. This is our system. Thryv is set up so that you, the small business person, can do it yourself, or if you've got any staff, they can manage it for you. But this does not require an FTE or an employee or something. This is something that you can do in
full-time employee. Yeah. You need to have something, especially as companies go through growth phases, and we see this a lot. A company that started in the 80s that's been around for a long time, it's easy to look at them. And by the way, I just picked the 80s because that's when I got out of high school. But there's companies been around since the 60s.
You're young.
Well. But a company that started in the 80s had the technology available to them at the time was very expensive. Yeah. You had to get a phone system, which cost you probably 120 grand, right? Yep. And then there was a monthly fee for the 4-line overlines. And then you had to pay internet separate, and there's huge fees, right? Well, then you go forward into the 90s, and those systems started to go away. And towards the late 90s, early 2000s, you had voice over IP systems and soft phones. And I'm only talking about telecom and some of, because we were talking about phones here. You can start a construction business today with the phone that's in your pocket and a couple of apps or like softwares 100%. Like you've got, and 100%. You don't have all of the overhead that we used to have before. So now when I go back and I look at a company that started in the 80s, they still have that darn gray phone set sitting on their desk, and they're saddled with it.
Yeah. No, the large companies, we refer them as enterprises. Enterprises learn this lesson really over the past 20 years, this move to what everybody calls the cloud, right? It used to be these enterprises had big server systems sitting in their premises, in their headquarters, right? You remember old mainframes and stuff like the big companies I'm talking about. And these smart IT guys, CIOs, said, that's all old. the future is the cloud, and we've all heard about Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Azure, and they've moved all those systems into the cloud, and it's simplified their lives and reduced cost, and it's made them more able to do business with all of us, all these companies we do business with, bigger companies, at lower cost and all the benefits of modern technology. What really a CRM like Thryv does is it brings all those benefits to a small business. That's really the whole idea, is make it look like a small business is doing the same as Domino's Pizza or Hertz Rent-A-Car, any of those companies that know everything about you and can communicate with you seamlessly.
You don't even have
through
to
your
call
phone.
the rental car agency. You just put in a few details online and
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So
it's a little bit different for construction, but you have the opportunity to upload pictures or do whatever. Like, you just have to get that customer engaged in the conversation. One of my favorite things, and I mean, you're a homeowner. Contractors, we hear this all the time. I really appreciate you coming by. We're going to get 3 estimates and we'll let you know. Well, I already know those other 2 guys aren't showing up. And even if they do, and I have a really easy customer experience, I'm going to get the job. If I want it, if I'm dealing with the right customer in the right area and I've got the right product and service mix. But yeah, they always say that. I think it's the only script homeowners have.
Yeah.
We're going to get 3 estimates.
Yeah, needless to say, by the way, website, we didn't even say the word website until now. That's part of what we do for businesses that need it. And often a business will say, well, I already have a website. Well, that website was built by the guy's cousin, 3 months ago or 3 years ago after a Thanksgiving dinner. Doesn't look very good. Not.
Do you know 90% of the people listening to the show are personally offended because you just said exactly.
I've seen it 100 times.
I know, I do too.
And having a professional look on your website, as well as the ability for people to book appointments, do some of the other things we talk about, really, really important. Not super expensive in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Thryv a couple of times because it's a CRM that you guys have or use. Yeah. How does it work? And who does it work for?
So how does it work? First of all, if you were interested, you sign up for a free demo on our website, and somebody walks you through all the software. And this isn't like a boring, let me show you all the bells and whistles. It's, you tell me about your business and what's plaguing your business. What's the problem your business has today? And it could be, I need a better social media presence, or I don't know how to do billing online, or my payments aren't working right,
or my calendar,
I don't know how to send out reminders that like you mentioned, that I'm coming to your house, the stuff like, whatever the issues are. And basically the demo specialist will walk you through and try to highlight how we can help your business. And, if somehow we can't, it's not often, we'll say, okay, we can't, but usually we can. And then in terms of, it's a monthly subscription product, and there's a whole onboarding process. We really pride ourselves on good customer service in terms of making it easy for you to get started and learn how to use it. We have actual humans who will talk to you in understandable in English. It's not a bot. It's not a self-serve. It's not a DIY. There's actually a person who's going to walk you through this and who'll check up on you and make sure it's going well. And in terms of once you get up and running, it's an app on your phone and on your computer, no different really than using Gmail or Facebook, or if you use QuickBooks, a lot of people use QuickBooks. It's no harder than any of those applications.
Yeah. It's interesting because no matter what, we're all going to have to face technology. So it's good. It's there. Some of us use it, some of us don't. Some of us are on technology that isn't working for us. You've probably seen that too. And it's, as a business owner, we just have to look at, what's the biggest, most burning issue and go deal with it. Just make sure you're actually dealing with the biggest, most burning issue. If you are getting negative reviews online and they're all saying, tough to deal with, didn't show up, didn't keep the appointment, nobody answered the phone, then it's not about answering the phone. It's the system you have for when you attract people to make sure they're coming into your company. So you got to make sure you're trying to solve the right problem. And then if you know that you've got a problem in that general area, start to look for solutions for it.
Let me just mention too, a common thing we're finding out there, which is that many business people start using one application for a particular pain point. Let's say maybe a real simple thing. They want to start using email for work. And so they use Gmail. Okay, it's free, right? So they have Gmail. Then they say, I want to get paid, so they maybe get a Square reader or something like that. Now, the Square doesn't talk to the Gmail, so you got sort of two systems going. Now, then they say, I do need a calendar online. So they go to one of those free calendar apps out there, and they get some kind of little calendar things. So the calendar doesn't talk to the Square doesn't talk to Gmail. Now I got three things going, on and on and on. QuickBooks, they probably have QuickBooks. That's a fourth thing. And pretty soon they have 5, 6, 7 of these things going on. So they are in the cloud and they are using stuff, but none of the stuff talks to each other. Trying to keep it all straight is a mess. And from a consumer experience, it's like all these things coming at you and none of it talks to each other. And really part of what we do, our value prop, is really pretty much throw all that away and have it all in one place. Now, by the way, though, you don't have to throw it all away, because QuickBooks we integrate with, Gmail we integrate with.
Yeah,
so
these tools all have a way to talk to other tools, but they make it look seamless to the customer. The customer doesn't know there's a difference, right?
Right, but you're living through one screen, and your consumer, your customer, will feel it in one place as well. They won't have all these different logos and things to get used to.
Yeah, and you know what? That just goes. I like what you just said there, because again, 90% of the people are like, oh my gosh, I do have that problem. I've got Stripe on this, I've got this on that. For cash payments, we got this. Then I got to go to the bank. Then I got to do this. Then I got to log in there, and it's not easy.
And you're trying to scale your business, and just think about if you're doing this at whatever $500,000 of revenue. What happens when you get to 2 million? Then what do you do? Now you got a bigger problem.
Yeah. Well, then you call Tom. Sorry, I had to say that. Hey, Gordon, if somebody wants to find you in this big wide world, you mentioned Thryv. Tell us a little bit about that, and tell us how we find you.
Yeah, sure. So, for professionals, I'm happy to talk to, our customers or anybody who's prospect. It's gordon.henry@thryv.com. That's GORDON.HENRY at Thryv, THRYV.com. If you're looking to explore the product, I would suggest go to Thryv.com. That's THRYV.com, and click on Get a Demo. And you'll be connected to some very capable person who will walk you through the software at a time you pick on the calendar, and take it from there. And it's super easy, no commitment, and what have you wasted? 30 minutes, and you learned a hell of a lot.
Yeah, I like the case study stuff. I was looking on your, to get ready for this, I went and looked, and like I said, the glass guy stuck out to me. There were some other contractors on there, but I like hearing how people are actually doing this in the field, because then I go like, okay, I get it. He's got a pickup with an A-frame. He's replacing foggy windows and doing all the things that you would expect him to do. Oh, that's how he made it work, right? Oh, that's the problem he was trying to solve. And yeah, I mean,
you mentioned the traffic thing the other day, or sorry, you said showing up at someone's house. We had a lot of our customers are in the trades, but we had this one guy. He had one of these like dog businesses where he like cleans dogs, kennel, walks dogs, all this stuff for dogs. And he was in the Detroit area, and I guess there's a decent amount of traffic in Detroit. And he said to me, he used to routinely go have an appointment, go across town, 30 minutes stuck in traffic, show up at the person's house at the perfect, appointed time. They wouldn't be there. Just a no-show. Just a no-show.
Burning money and heart. Your own heart.
My God, what a way to live. And then 30 minutes back, and he's sitting there burning up because he wasted an hour out of his day. This tool, that's the kind of way we can give you time back and frustration out of your day. Just make sure, because you send reminders the day before, an hour before, 15 minutes before, making sure you're cut. And a lot of times customers will text you back saying, thanks for the reminder. Sorry, I'm not going to be there. I'm glad you texted me.
But now you can change your schedule.
Yeah.
Or turn around in traffic.
People want, I understand, a lot of people we do business with, not everybody wants to just make more money. They want to get home for their kid's soccer game. They want to, free up a little time in their day or week to do what they want to do. And if we can give you a little time back and make it a little easier for you, that's not bad either, right?
Yeah. No, that's why we're here. We're not here to work. We're here to actually work so that we can enjoy ourselves. A lot of us, including me, quite often forget. And then we just start working all the time. But no, there's supposed to be balance. Got to have time to do the things that are important.
I hear you.
Hey, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. I'm glad we got, I was on your show. Now you're on mine. I think it's fantastic.
No, you have a great show. I love it. I've listened to a lot of episodes, and thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks, Gordon. All right. Well, I'll let you go, and we'll have you back in the future. Thanks, Gordon.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Well. Gordon, thank you very much for being with us today. a good conversation, a good discussion of things. I always like it when we can throw real examples in there of how people are using it. And that the glass company sticks in my mind. We talked about a couple of interesting things here. The one that I've got here circled on my page is, am I easy to do business with? Is it easy for customers to do business with me? And that goes for whether customers are good, customers are bad. There are tools that you could put in place, and we talk about them here. For once we've got somebody who's interested, they've given us their phone number or their email or whatever, they've texted us, somehow they got in touch with us. Not all jobs, not all customers are created the same, but there's ways to filter out good, better, and best customers. And it's important that you have that. So one of them is, am I easy to deal with? The other one Gordon brought up here is look at the customer's point of view. Maybe get your wife to phone your phone number and listen to your voicemail. Is it good? Are you still getting voicemails and then returning them hours later, days later? Are you answering texts? And listen, if you're not, it's understandable because you're installing something or building something or renovating something. And it's not necessarily, something you can do while you're holding up an outside wall with a nailer in the other hand to answer your phone. The challenge is that somebody else, one of your competitors, is having that answered a different way, or the customer's contacting the contractor a different way, and they're going to get that business before you've had a chance to say yes or no to it. So you might be losing on deals before you had a chance to say yes or no. So look at the customer's point of view. How is it when they deal with you, right? It's the same as if somebody walks in and sees a messy office. What does a messy office tell you about how they do business, right? What does a clean office tell you? What does a modern office tell you? What if your office looks like Better Call Saul and it's some old 60s, never been updated, right? You just get a sense from the office what kind of business they do. And then I brought up a point here that I think is worth remembering, because I'm a business coach and I'm here to make sure you're making tons of cash, tons of money, is that if you want to get a premium price, if you want to get premium profit margins, you want to get better than industry average, you have to be better than the industry. Now, if you are the same as the industry today, that's okay. If you're less than the industry, if everybody else is a bit better than you, that's okay. If you're already better than the industry, that's okay too. But that train is moving. So what are you doing to continue to move forward, right? You can't just stop and say, well, we're better than the rest of the industry. We'll wait for them to catch up. No, totally redefine it. If you're already ahead of everybody else, keep going. If you're the same as everybody else, here's an opportunity to step out from the crowd. And if you feel like you're behind everybody else, it's time to jump in. See what I'm saying? So you can't really ignore it for too much longer unless you're just running this as a side project. Remember, this whole show is about showing you how to be a business person who just happens to be a contractor, not a contractor with a crew. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Gordon, thank you so much for being a guest here.